Man, things are getting crazy in Pittsburgh right now. The latest news is causing heated discussions among fans. One of them involves Aaron Rodgers admitting something that nobody expected him to admit, even without needing to. Another piece of news emerged just a few hours later. A very sad new concern for our wide receivers, right before the game against the Colts, and just when it seemed like things couldn't get any more chaotic. Rumors about the big trade everyone was waiting for got an unexpected update that you won't believe. Let's start with what Rodgers said that's causing all the buzz. Alright, so let's talk about the elephant in the room, the Steelers' offense. 2 straight losses, a brutal stretch against the Bengals and the Packers, and now they've got the Colts coming to town. This team's staring down a possible 3-game skid, and the pressure's thicker than Heinz ketchup on a Primanti sandwich. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Aaron Rodgers isn't pointing fingers. Nope. While everyone's busy blaming the defense for getting shredded through the air the last 2 weeks, Rodgers stepped up to the mic and said, basically, "Nah, that's on me too." That's the kind of leadership fans have been dying to see around here. He told reporters Wednesday, "We've got to stay the course. We've had chances. We were up 16-7 at halftime last week. Defense was playing well. We've just got to finish the middle 8. That's where we've been slipping." For anyone who doesn't live and breathe football terminology, middle 8 means those last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 of the second. That little window often decides games. The best teams turn that stretch into points on both sides of halftime. And Rodgers is right. Pittsburgh hasn't been doing that. The offense goes cold right when it should be putting the game away. But instead of throwing the defense under the bus, Rodgers kept it real. He said his unit has to capitalize better, that they've left too many points out there. And honestly, he's not wrong. The offense has been better than in recent years, but the red zone efficiency still needs work. Here's the thing. You can tell Rodgers is frustrated, but not defeated. He's challenging the team, not tearing it apart. That's why the locker room still believes. They know they can hang with anyone if both sides of the ball show up. The problem is, the defense has been leaking like an old roof, and it's killing momentum. Then there's the other tension simmering. Mike Tomlin's play calling on 4th downs. Multiple times, the Steelers have faced 4th and short situations, and instead of trusting Rodgers, Tomlin's sent out the kicker. You could literally see Rodgers' face on the sideline like, "Come on, man, let me go for it." And he's right. You don't beat elite teams by playing scared. Field goals don't win shootouts in today's NFL. This whole stretch has turned into a test of trust. Rodgers trusting Tomlin's judgment and Tomlin trusting Rodgers' experience. Something's got to give. Because if the Steelers want to stop this skid and make a run, that connection between head coach and QB has to click now. But just when things looked like they couldn't get worse, boom, another problem hits. This time, it's in the receiver room, and it's not good news. All right, now let's talk about the latest hit to the Steelers' depth chart. Because of course, it wouldn't be a Pittsburgh week without an injury scare. This time, it's veteran wide receiver Ben Skowronek, who popped up on the first injury report of the week with a neck issue. Yeah, that's not what you want to see heading into a must-win game against the Colts. Now, before everyone panics, he wasn't ruled out. He was limited in practice, which at least means he's moving around. But still, a neck injury? That's one of those that makes every fan flinch when you hear it. The guy's already been through the ringer since signing with the Steelers last year. Quick recap. Right after joining the team in 2024, he went down with a shoulder injury that landed him on IR. He missed 7 games before fighting his way back in Week 10. Then, just when it seemed like he'd finally settled in, he hurt his hip late last season and had to sit out the Chiefs game on Christmas Day. Like, come on, give the dude a break. The positive spin? He's been a grinder. Despite the injuries, Skowronek's carved out a real role on special teams. And that's where this story actually matters most. He's logged 139 snaps there this season, one of the top contributors in that unit. With Miles Killebrew already lost for the year after that knee injury in Week 6, losing Skowronek would be a gut punch for the coverage squads. Offensively, he's not a major target. Only about 15% of offensive snaps, 62 plays total, but his presence keeps the rotation fresh. And given the hits that this receiving core has taken, that depth matters. Speaking of the WR room, it's a little banged up. Scotty Miller is still dealing with a broken finger that kept him out last week, and his name showed up again as a non-participant in practice. On the bright side, Calvin Austin III came back against Green Bay after missing time with a shoulder issue. So yeah, it's not a disaster, but it's close enough to make fans nervous. Meanwhile, DK Metcalf and Roman Wilson have been healthy, and that's the only reason the offense hasn't gone off the rails. But if Skowronek can't go, or isn't 100%, that affects field position, special teams, and the little things that don't make the highlight reel but win football games. Bottom line, this isn't the kind of injury that makes headlines. It's the kind that bites you quietly when the game's on the line. And with the Colts coming in hot, Pittsburgh can't afford to lose another glue guy. But here's where things finally start to shift. Because while injuries pile up, the Steelers might be cooking something big behind the scenes. All right, enough bad news. Let's talk about something that could actually fix a lot of what's been wrong in Pittsburgh. Because word on the street is the Steelers might be cooking up a deal for Jakobi Meyers. And if that happens, it could change everything. Here's what's going on. According to insiders Jeremy Fowler and Dan Graziano, the Steelers are one of the most aggressive teams in the market heading into the November 4th trade deadline. They're buyers, not sellers, and the position they're locked in on is wide receiver. Makes sense, right? The offense has been decent, but it's missing that one reliable piece behind DK Metcalf, and that's where Meyers comes in. The dude's been stuck in a weird spot with the Raiders. He's wanted out for a while now, and Vegas just signed Tyler Lockett, which basically screams, yeah, we're open for business. According to Fowler, Pittsburgh's keeping tabs on the situation and could pull the trigger if the timing's right. His actual words were, if I had to predict a destination right now, I'd say the Steelers. Now, let's be real. That's music to Steelers fans' ears. Because outside of Metcalf, there's been no consistent second option. Calvin Austin III flashes every now and then, but he hasn't hit 100 yards in a game all season. Adding a guy like Meyers gives the offense something it's been missing. A dependable chain mover who can actually take pressure off DK. And here's the fun part. If Meyers does land in Pittsburgh, it's not just about the numbers. It's about balance. The Steelers would suddenly have a three-headed monster with Metcalf, Meyers, and Roman Wilson, who's quietly been improving every week. That trio would force defenses to pick their poison. Double Metcalf and leave Meyers free, or roll coverage his way and let Wilson torch the slot. Think about what that does for Rodgers, too. More weapons mean fewer drives ending in field goals, more trust on fourth downs, and a whole lot more rhythm for this offense that's been right on the edge of breaking out. If Pittsburgh actually pulls this trade off, it'd be one of those mid-season moves that shifts everything, not just for this year, but for the next couple. Rodgers would finally have the support cast he needs to make this team a real contender again. And the best part? They're not desperate. The front office is playing it cool, keeping tabs, being patient. But make no mistake, the Steelers are in it. And if they land Meyers, it's a statement. This team's not folding, they're reloading. At this point, it's simple. The Steelers are standing at a crossroads. Either they get bold and fix what's broken, or they let the season slip away. So what do you think, Steelers Nation? Is Jakobi Meyers the missing piece? Hit subscribe and drop your take below.